A little tip on how to warm up. I'm going to show you what I do. I see too many amateurs that pitch up on the driving range, they pull out a 5-iron or 6-iron, they get straight to driver and they start smashing driver. Now I appreciate not everybody has the amount of time that we have to build up and actually warm up in a proper way, but one simple thing you can use. Now I use a heavy club, so let's just call this a heavy club. If you don't have one of those, you can get some lead tape. You can take an old club, you can wrap a load of lead weight around the head of the club so it becomes very heavy. And I want you literally for a couple of minutes to start swinging the club. And whilst you're swinging the club, I want you to think about exactly what you want to be doing in your golf swing. The right positions, check positions, finish position. Now with this club, I have the ability to change the weights, but it's a really good way to warm up the muscles before you start hitting golf shots. Now it's at its max weight, but having a couple minutes to yourself to think about the swings that you might be working on, in preparation for your round of golf. If you do that for about 5 minutes, yes, you can have a bit of a sweat on because the club's quite heavy, but it's a really good activation to warm up all of your muscles, getting ready to then obviously go into actually hitting some shots. So once I've done 5 minutes with a heavy club, I'll then move on to hitting some shots. So a general practice session I will change every day. So one day I'll start warming up with a 56, and the 56 then leads itself into the odd numbers within my bag, so 9, 7, 5, 3-iron. The day after I will flip-flop. So I'll probably start with a 52, going to pitching wedge, 8, 6 and 4-iron. So I get an even mix and an even wear spot between my kind of the odds and my even numbers within my bag. I don't have a specific amount of shots that I hit with each club, but generally for me, it's about when I feel warm. Working through those odd numbers or even numbers and then moving up until I actually get into the woods. So I will hit each of my woods. Once I've finished with driver, I'll then go back and hit something shorter before we obviously go off to the first tee. Everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses when it comes to short game and chipping. So imagination for me is key when you're in this position. Now we've got quite a sandy lie. We've got a bank and we've got a pin that's about 15 feet over the edge of the green. So in this instance, I would generally use a lob wedge. I would fly it onto the green and I would have it check up. Now that's something that a lot of top pros would take that option, but the second option will be to hit a 5-iron and play it like a chip and run to be able to run up the bank onto the green and hopefully finish close to the pin. Now there's not one right or wrong way of doing it. There's just a lot of amateurs that I see that don't want to hit the lob wedge, but they want to keep the ball along the ground as long as they possibly can and take out making a big mistake. So firstly, let's play the lob wedge. I'm going to open the face up a little bit. I'm going to take a short backswing with a little bit of a hinge. I'm going to strike into the back of the ball. It's going to land on the green. It's going to check up quite quick. Pretty decent shot. Now, you can hit the same shot to the same pin using a 5-iron, but we're going to do like an extended putt with a little bit of a wrist hinge. So this takes a little bit of practice, but it certainly takes out the thin over the green or the chunk short the green. So get set up. We grip down the 5-iron quite a long way onto the thinner part of the grip. Ball position more towards the back of the heel. Short backswing with a real tiny bit of a wrist hinge and a little pop through the strike area, creating that ball to be low, running towards the bank up onto the green. Five iron, quite a long way back in the stance, short backswing, tiny wrist hinge. Both shots, one with a lob wedge, the other one with a 5-iron, both of which have finished in pretty much the same position. So take your choice. One of the first key fundamental things about hitting balls on the range has to be alignment. I see too many people on the driving range that don't practice with any form of purpose. They don't really have a target. They just stand on the range and they just hit balls. So one of the things I've been very consistent with throughout all of my career is alignment. Now, I use a very simple T alignment gate, which once you set the first position, aiming towards your intended target. So I take time to make sure I've got this set up exactly where I want it to go. Secondly, I have this T position, which I can move as I start to hit shots and take divots. I can move this really, which gives me a great indication of where I need my ball position and where I want to feel that ball position and my feet alignment throughout the swing. So this one, my target line, this one being my ball position, is something I've always done throughout my whole career. Very simple device. It doesn't have to be this T-gate. You can simply put two clubs down if you wish. But again, having two of them, one to put down on your target line and one to put down on your exact ball position, gives you a really nice visual when you stand over the ball. We're nice and square, we're parallel to the club on the ground or the tee on the ground. Our ball position is set up exactly where we want it for each club. Once you take a divot, you either move the club or you move your ball position club to match exactly where the ball is and swing away. A really valuable asset you can have for hitting into certain pin locations to improve your golf game is shot shaping. I give you the simplest form to move a ball left to right and right to left. So when you have got one of those targets where a pin may be tucked in a corner and you want to use the wind to be able to get it back into certain pin locations, this is basically what I would do. So in this case, the alignment stick on the ground is going towards my intended finished target position. I want the ball to move left to right. So here's the easiest way to practice and actually visualize and think about moving the ball left to right. So first and foremost, we've got our target position by the T marker in the ground. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to aim my body left of my target, because this is the target where we want our ball to finish. So what do? I have my feet, knees, hips, shoulders are literally parallel to the two clubs on the ground, which is where I want the ball to start. This is our intended target line where the ball needs to finish. So technically, you are just open in the face. Now from this position, I want you to swing as if you were set up parallel to a target being this one. Now, because the face is open, that ball will naturally just move left to right, sliding towards your intended target. That ball starts left, it then moves all the way back to our finished target position. Now, when you're going to hit this shot shape where that ball's going to move left to right, you have to always account for the ball's not quite going to travel as far as a normal shot. Because the face is slightly open, it's going to add more loft and it's going to add more spin to the shot. So therefore, you have to account for that. You might want to go up a single club to make sure you've got that yardage deficit sorted. If you practice that, you'll perfect it, and you'll be able to start moving it into different pins located on tricky greens, and hopefully it brings your handicap down. I'm going to show you how to hit a big draw. So those tight left pin positions, when you want to be able to get that ball back into that corner of the green and you want to help move that ball into that location, here's a simple tip. First and foremost, on the ground we have an alignment gauge aimed exactly to my finished pin position. On the ground I've got two clubs that you can see are aiming considerably right of that target. Now the best way to, and the simplest way to be able to move that ball right to left is stand parallel to the clubs that are on the ground. Not your target line, but the clubs that are on the ground. So the start line of where you want the ball to start, feet, knees, hips, shoulders, all parallel. Aim the club face towards where you want the ball to finish. Now basically what that's doing, it's closing the face. What does closing the face do? It adds draw spin. So aiming to the right, club face aiming to your target, swing naturally without having to do much with your swing at all. That ball will naturally have a right to left draw bias on it. Ball starts down the alignment of the clubs. Because the club face is technically closed, it sweeps nicely right to left, moving it back into those left pin locations. Thank you guys for your support and enjoying the MajesTIPS. Hopefully you've enjoyed it and you've got something from it. We really appreciate all you guys. Stay tuned and hopefully we'll bring you more content real soon.